Welcome to Future Forward, Artificial Intelligence to General Intelligence to Superintelligence, the podcast exploring the intersection of technology, geopolitics, and the future of society. Today we're diving deep into a critical question. In an age dominated by artificial intelligence, will AI be a force that unites us or divides us? That's the trillion-dollar question, isn't it? We're not just talking about faster computers or smarter gadgets. We're talking about a fundamental shift in the global power structure and how AI is becoming the new battleground. Let's start with the big picture. What's the core issue at play here? At its heart, it's about the industrialization of intelligence. We're moving into an era where AI is no longer a scarce resource, but something that can be mass-produced and deployed at scale. This transformation has profound implications for national security, economic competitiveness, information integrity, and even cultural production. So it's not just about algorithms, it's about power. And that power is concentrated in the hands of a few nations and corporations that control the key ingredients: compute infrastructure, advanced AI models, and, crucially, the talent to develop and deploy them. Compute infrastructure, you say? Well, what exactly does that entail? Think of it as the new oil. AI models require massive computational power to train, and that requires vast data centers, high-performance GPUs, and a reliable energy supply. Access to this compute is becoming the most valuable geopolitical resource of the 21st century. I'm remembering hearing that nations that control compute can essentially build sovereign AI models, secure economic advantages, and even influence global narratives. But the control is so limited. I imagine there are some real choke points. The semiconductor supply chain is extraordinarily fragile. Taiwan, for example, produces around 90% of the world's advanced chips, and only a handful of nations have the capability to design and manufacture these cutting-edge components. Any disruption, a geopolitical conflict, a natural disaster, could cripple global AI capacity overnight. This is a recurring element, the fragility of the semiconductor supply chain. And that's a scary thought. It sounds like we're walking on thin ice. And it's not just about hardware. AI talent is also a limited and fiercely contested resource. Countries are now treating AI researchers like strategic assets, offering them special immigration pathways and massive research grants to attract and retain them. This creates a brain drain dynamic where smaller nations lose talent to the dominant AI economies. So, it's a self-reinforcing cycle. The rich get richer, and the AI haves dominate the AI have-nots. And that dynamic extends beyond economics. It also impacts information integrity and cognitive security. AI enables the mass production of synthetic media, deepfakes, cloned voices, realistic personas, at an unprecedented scale. This threatens to destabilize elections, create diplomatic crises, and erode trust in institutions. When citizens can no longer distinguish reality from fabrication, the legitimacy of democratic systems becomes fragile. It feels like we're living in a post-truth world already, and AI is just pouring gasoline on the fire. State and non-state actors can now wield unprecedented influence, even small activist groups or lone individuals. Information warfare becomes decentralized and unpredictable, making it harder to defend against. So nations need to protect their population's perception of reality, not just their physical borders. And that's precisely what's emerging. Cognitive sovereignty, the ability to control and protect a nation's information environment. Let's not forget the economic side. So how does AI introduce fractures into the global economy, you might be thinking? We're seeing the world divide into competing AI ecosystems, primarily a US-led bloc and a China-led bloc. Each is developing its own cloud platforms, model architectures, and governance frameworks. Cross-border AI collaboration becomes politically sensitive, and we're seeing increasing use of export controls and technological containment measures, like the US restricting the export of advanced chips to China, who responds by controlling critical minerals. This tit-for-tat escalation stresses global supply chains and places neutral nations under pressure to align. This is leading to digital dependence and a new form of neocolonialism, where developing nations risk becoming consumers of intelligence rather than producers. Now that's quite a bleak picture. AI really amplifies existing inequalities, and it challenges fundamental concepts of national sovereignty. AI can target a nation remotely, meddling with elections, destabilizing financial markets, or attacking critical infrastructure. Physical borders offer little protection in this new reality. So you might be thinking, so what's the solution? How do countries protect themselves? One key element is robust digital identity frameworks. Without them, countries cannot authenticate citizens, protect financial systems, or guard against synthetic media attacks. Digital identity becomes the foundation of national resilience, and we're seeing the rise of sovereign AI initiatives where countries create national AI models, sovereign cloud infrastructure, and strict data localization policies. It sounds like we're headed towards a new era of technological nationalism. I mean, it feels almost inevitable. It's a powerful trend, but it's not the only possible future. Despite all the stresses and strains, AI also offers tremendous economic and societal upside. Okay, let's talk about the good news. Where do we see the biggest potential for positive impact? Artificial intelligence has the potential to accelerate productivity across almost every sector, from science and drug discovery to engineering and manufacturing. Tasks that once took weeks can be executed in minutes, fundamentally shifting economic models. So it's a huge productivity multiplier, and it allows smaller economies to leapfrog. By developing national AI strategies, creating talent incubators, and fostering AI startups, countries like Estonia, Singapore, and Finland are positioning themselves as AI-forward innovation nations. Now that's inspiring. It's not just about the big players. Artificial intelligence also improves public sector efficiency, enhancing healthcare systems, improving tax compliance, and reducing bureaucratic waste. Governments that integrate AI effectively gain an economic and political advantage. And it's not just about efficiency, right? There's a creative element too. Artificial intelligence is a cultural amplifier, empowering creators, lowering barriers to storytelling, and enabling cross-lingual creativity. It makes cultural influence more accessible across nations. Good time for a quick plug. Check out Kids Magical Storyteller, which you can find on Apple's App Store. No apologies for the quick plug. So it's not just about competing, it's about connecting. Let's look at what does that look like. AI factories, hyperscale data centers, are becoming global infrastructure, on par with rail networks and electricity grids. These centers form the backbone of global economic connectivity. AI also demands strong digital identity systems, which become trust anchors and authentication frameworks. And AI dissolves linguistic barriers through instant translation and multilingual content creation. So AI isn't just computing, it's connecting. Remember that amazing app for parents and kids I said earlier? Kids Magical Storyteller. Well, that's a great example of multilingual content creation, fostering global creativity and education from an early age, all in the hands of caring parents. Now that's notwithstanding the efforts made by those developers to meet Apple's strict child safety requirements. On a broader scale, it accelerates international cooperation in areas like climate science, medicine, and disaster response. AI-enabled scientific collaboration becomes the new global commons. But ultimately, the question is, will these positive forces outweigh the risks and divisions we discussed earlier? That brings us back to the governance question. How do we ensure that AI becomes a unifier rather than a divider? Effective governance is essential. We need to address issues like transparency in model training, compute concentration, energy usage, data sovereignty, and misinformation control. And we need new international frameworks to regulate autonomous weapons and ensure AI safety. It sounds like we need a whole new set of rules for this new game. Ethical adaptation will be a competitive advantage. Nations with strong ethics and transparent governance will gain trust, attract investment, and maintain political stability. But the stakes are high. Nina Schick puts it, "The choices that governments, industries, and societies make now will determine whether AI becomes a catalytic force for global prosperity or a destabilizing amplifier of inequality and conflict." That's a powerful statement. Let's pick that apart a bit. The choices that governments, industries, and societies make now will determine whether AI becomes a catalytic force for global prosperity or a destabilizing amplifier of inequality and conflict. I think the key word there is choices. It implies that the future isn't predetermined, that we have agency in shaping the outcome. But it also highlights the urgency of the situation. The decisions we make in the next few years will have a profound impact on the future of the global order. It's a call to action, urging us to be proactive and intentional in how we develop and deploy AI. The implication is clear. If we don't make the right choices, we risk exacerbating existing inequalities and creating a more fractured and unstable world. Earlier, I mentioned the importance of digital identity frameworks. So how does that connect to this broader question of AI as a unifier or divider? Well, digital identity is crucial for building trust and security in the digital world. Without it, we're vulnerable to synthetic media attacks, impersonation, and fraud. But it's also essential for enabling equitable access to AI and its benefits. If we can create secure and inclusive digital identity systems, we can help ensure that everyone can participate in the AI-powered economy. It's about creating a level playing field, ensuring that AI benefits all of humanity, not just a privileged few. But to achieve that, we need to address the ethical and governance challenges head-on. I think it's also about recognizing that AI is not just a technological issue. It's a profoundly geopolitical, economic, and human one. Nina Schick also notes, "The future of AI is not simply technological, it is profoundly geopolitical, economic, and human. It requires a holistic approach that considers the social, cultural, and political implications of AI. We need to move beyond a purely technological mindset and embrace a more human-centered approach. So as we look ahead, what are the key priorities for navigating this era of industrial intelligence? We need to advance sovereign compute strategies, build strong talent pipelines, establish ethical governance frameworks, create resilient information ecosystems, and ensure equitable AI access for all citizens. And we need to foster open and secure collaboration frameworks to promote innovation and address global challenges." Let's close out this episode around the unifying topic. It's really about how we navigate the rise of AI. There are two very different futures, one where AI unites the world and another where it deepens existing divisions. The choice ultimately is ours. The key takeaway is that the future of AI is not predetermined. It will be shaped by the decisions we make today. We need to be proactive in addressing the challenges and seizing the opportunities that AI presents. And it's important to remember that this isn't just some abstract, futuristic scenario. The choices we make about AI will have a direct impact on our lives, our communities, and our societies. It's time to ask ourselves, are we building a future where AI empowers all of humanity, or one where it exacerbates inequality and conflict? What actions can we take individually and collectively to ensure a more equitable and prosperous future for all? That's it, folks. Lots to think about. Thanks for sticking around and see you in the next episode.